Hey, hey. Hi guys. Welcome back. All right. So, shall we dive on in? This is going to be a love message. We'll make it as specific as possible as we go, but it is a check-in more specifically for love. Um and I will say this, I have been fairly restless today. I don't know how else to say that. Goddess of love, so wonderful to see you, beauty. How are you? Slave princess. Awesome to catch you. Hi, Tina. Chris, great to see you. Thanks for hanging with me. Okay, we just started out with the devil, Capricorn energy. And we got, I actually feel like somebody is like going out to like a bar or pub with like a neon sign. Maybe it's, like Devil's Den, or, it's got some fun, cutesy name or something. But I'm picturing more like saloon bar vibe, someplace that has like a neon sign, which I mean, that could be very, very broad. But it does feel like we start out with somebody who's either like, man, I'm bummed. I'm feeling like a country song right now, somebody who's like, uh, I'm thinking about this person. I don't feel like sitting around at home by myself thinking about this person. So instead, I'm sitting in some neon light pub thinking about this person because I'm fighting, taking some kind of sudden action, right? Impulsively, drunk dialing or impulsively sending a little message with that Knight of Swords. This is somebody, or maybe they already did that and they're like, I'm so embarrassed. I shouldn't have left that message. I shouldn't have sent that text. Hang on. Did this already happen, or is this somebody who's like about to? Because we started with the devil, followed by the Knight of Swords, Eight of Swords. Are they trying to like take their mind off of the message they already sent? We've all done that. We've all sent something and be like, why, no, why did I do that? Okay, we have judgment. We have Five of Pentacles. I'm not laughing at this person's plight. Okay, I am totally empathizing with the character right now, who I believe, because the reason I think they already did this is the body posture. This is somebody who's like, oh, let the ground open up and create a cave that's specially shaped just for my body so I can hide in it. Like that's this person seems to be like, let me run. Now, it could be let me run from the hurricane, the hornet's nest I just, created with that message that I sent. They may be under the impression that something that they said will possibly stir up a big, big problem. I distinctly get like some stress, some negative energy, some impulsive interaction or comment. And then it's like they're waiting to see how bad is the fallout here. Now, here's the thing. Their impulsive comment could have been, I want you back. I miss you. Oh God, so much. And then they were like, why did I do this? Here's the thing. I don't know if that message got through. This is about, can we reconcile? This is about, like quite theatrical perhaps, but, uh, think of any great I miss you song out there, and they're all theatrical. That's why we love, the songs that just like, oh, it's like somebody is singing our pain, somebody is singing how our own heart feels, right? Um, I'm thinking that maybe this person did something, said something about how they felt, and they are now kind of like running from whatever the reaction to that is going to be. They may have showed their hand. They may have revealed that they've been kind of obsessing over this, haven't wanted this to be over. They may have sent that message. This is communication, and it's a night's communication, right? So this is like I sent a message, I sent something, and oh my God, what have I done? Why did I accidentally, why did my finger bump that? Maybe I typed it all out, but I wasn't really going to send it. And then, whatever, the dog bumps me and my finger hits send. And now it's like, well, can't take that one back. I guess it's time to get out of the house and go to a pub. Like, that's how this feels. Somebody is wanting reconciliation for sure, but I think that they already asked for it. Let's see what happened with the message that they seem to have sent. Because, hang on, that feels wrong. Let's go. This is important. We got to pick a good deck, and kind of hopefully a more straightforward deck so we're not left questioning every every single message. I think this is a good one. There's not too much crazy room for interpretation on this. Okay. What happened with the message? Wow, that came out fast. So we have the devil. It jumped out instantly, and it did come out kind of a tilted sideways position. This devil has more people on it because we got a couple of feminines here. We've got devil here, and everybody's making s'mores, which we all know, burn your mouth. Everybody's burned their mouth on a s'more before. It's a devil's snack. It's so tasty, and you want to eat them, and you don't want to wait for them to cool down. But that's the trickery. Sorry, I'm just being goofy about that, but it totally looks like they're making s'mores, does it not? And every time I've ever had one, love them, but oh my God, burn the roof of my mouth every time. We have the star. So I said, what happened with that message? Right now, it's still up in the ether somewhere. Whatever they wrote, whatever they sent so impulsively may never make its mark. This actually looks like look, the star is great distance, right? If this is somebody who sent a message and they poured out their heart, and now they are mortified that they sent a message like that, I do not believe that it has landed in someone's inbox or phone. And so many things can go wrong with stuff like that, right? When information has to travel from whatever, our device up to a satellite after bouncing off of the cell towers and then come on back down and bounce around some more and get to the right device and the right phone. And then that phone or computer has to have enough room in the inbox, or, if your phone's bogged down, if it's, you've got too many saved, selfies and saved emails and all that, sometimes your phone's not updating properly. You're not getting those messages, or you're in a dead zone. And then I've had phone messages that finally played for me like 3 weeks after the person had left the message, and it's like my mom or something saying that she needs me to pick something up. And I'm like, wait, what? I visited 3 weeks ago. What? How does she? Oh, that was from 3 weeks ago. That kind of thing. Because this feels like things are still in transit with the star. Things are like they're up on a satellite right now. They haven't even beamed back down to get to whomever it's supposed to go to. That is why, on one hand, all the stress surrounding this may be for nothing. Now, what I want to know is oh no, guys, did it freeze? It seems like everything is good. Are you guys able to hear and see me okay? Everything looks awesome on my end. I can see and hear the counters going, the chat's going. Okay, good. Thank you, guys. I just saw Anisha chat too asking, does it work for you guys? So I was wondering if everybody was having a freeze moment. All right. There's been a lot of those lately, guys, a lot of those. So it's kind of perfect and ironic that we're telling a story about something like this, where it's like, is a message getting through? Sometimes you don't know. You guys know I had that happen, like 2 nights ago, where everything froze and I didn't know it. So I'm wondering if all this stress and worry might be over nothing. This could be a Capricorn. This could be a Libra, Gemini, Aquarius. Definitely could be Libra, Gemini, Aquarius. But we also do have some Scorpio in here. But it feels like they are, face palming right now, thinking how embarrassing this is that they sent that, when we can see it didn't get through. We've got a King of Wands in the reverse and the Page of Wands upright. I'm going to say this also. The individual who would potentially be the recipient of that message would not be expecting to hear from them. In fact, may have an unfavorable opinion of this person as a whole, may think this person is so selfish or so egotistical. They've probably moved on a long time ago. The one person on earth I'll never hear from is them. The one person who would never send me a message of, oh my God, I miss you so much. Would you reconcile with me? Let's see who the recipient of this message is. But I can say right now, they would not expect to ever hear from this person. They would never in a million years think that this person might send them a message. Okay, can I see who you are? Recipient of the message, who has not received the message. We've got death and rebirth. So she could be, or he could be, a Scorpio. We have a feminine over here, it's like passed out. Then we have two different versions of a masculine here. One's like down on the knees praying. The other is also down on the knees praying, but one is, in medical scrubs, like I'm the one who's praying that I can fix this. Here I am praying and grieving for the loss. Here I am praying that I can salvage this. So that's why I'm a little inclined to say she here, that the individual who is supposed to be the recipient of this message is possibly this feminine that we see front and center, and she could be, let's check, but she could be a Scorpio. We have the star, so she could be an Aquarius. This is the second time we've seen the star card, and then we also have that page of pentacles in the reverse. She must have turned her back a long time ago, and again we see she's like, the one person on earth I'll never hear from again is him. I'll never hear from that King of Wands. I'm sure she may even think he barely had any interest in me anyway. He definitely has more interest in his own face than mine. Maybe he ate up a little bit of my time, but I know he's not still out there thinking about me. That's not, so she doesn't check her inbox. She doesn't check her phone. She's not thinking about him. If anything, this is like long ago and far away in her mind. She's, I think gravitated more and is maybe even contemplating like, because I'm hearing, is it Billie Eilish, What Was I Made For? It kind of feels like she's gravitating more. You see the DNA strand across, the sky, and it's like, I'm moving more and more toward the question mark of, what's going on here? What am I supposed to be doing? What's my purpose? What was I created for, born for? I feel like more or less she's got bigger questions on her mind right now about like the meaning of life or something, or where she should try to, make her mark in this world, or what goals she's supposed to achieve. So she is somebody who assumes this was over a long time ago, assumes that she has transformed beyond this, and assumes that this is something so far in her rearview mirror because she doesn't believe this person would ever be reaching out to her. Would you want to hear from them at all? We've got a 10 of Cups. Well, once upon a time, this person, she thought she'd have a forever life story with. She thought she may have even imagined, where they'd live, what kind of a home they'd share, what kind of a life they'd live together. So there was an awful lot to this relationship once upon a time. We got an 8 of Cups though, and we got that 8 of Wands in the reverse. Again, she goes back to saying, I'm not going to hear from them. This was so long ago. I mean, yes, once upon a time, oh, I loved them. I loved them so much. I'm hearing Dvořáčka. I read you wrote me letters that I didn't read. Ain't it too bad? I loved you so much. Brazilian Sea amazes me. I can't think of the title of that song, but Dvořáčka is amazing. Everything they do is incredible. I don't know. I feel like she really doesn't spend time in that memory. Like if you ask her, do you know who they are? Oh yeah, that was that one that I was so crazy about him. Oh, I thought I was going to marry him. Yeah. But no, turned my back on that. It's over. It was done a long time ago. No. I'll never hear from them. Oh gosh, no, they wouldn't talk to me. They wouldn't be thinking about me, and they wouldn't be coming toward me. I moved on from this anyway. Like that's her response again and again and again and again, right? We see her always turning her back and looking towards something else. And she firmly believes they don't even remember her. She believes that their interest in her was not more than a page's interest, a vague little spark. Even, I don't know, this almost feels like she's under the impression she was like a dalliance or something for them and not much more than that. Which is very ironic that indeed they have attempted accidentally or intentionally to send some huge, I miss you, could we do this all over again? I'm kind of, fainting here without you message to her. So let me ask this. Did you intend to send that letter to her? Message, email, whatever it was. Did you intend to do this, or was this accidental? Embodiment of Cups. I intended to. I mean, it's from the heart, because we've got those seahorses and they do mate for life. So it's like, no, I've been in love with her all this time. Okay, then why are you freaking out that you sent it? Action of Swords, again, same card, right? We already saw them freaking out with the, oh my God, what have I done? I did that so impulsively. And here they are again, impulsively. I wasn't thinking. My head was fuzzy. My eyes were blurry. Maybe I was, I had a little too much drinky drink at that neon lit pub. And then I sat there composing something, it was my tequila message. Like that's what it's looking like. It was my tequila message. And then I clicked send. 7 of Wands in the reverse and synchronicity in the reverse. You know what? Especially with all the fog that's here, if they sent a message that should have been very clear, but they sent it when they were bleary, and this could be bleary with sleep, bleary with, like I say, drink, whatever. It's a blessing that this didn't get through. They don't know this yet. They're still thinking that I sent this and I'm sure she's going to be able to read it. But it's better that it didn't, because this is not the right way to do it. With that 7 of Wands here in the reverse, it says, look, there's no blockage. If you really want to talk to her, talk to her. But as far as like this blockage in the synchronicity, this wasn't the right way to do it. So I kind of think the universe just did him a solid, or the energy flow did him a solid. He wasn't supposed to send a message while bleary about something this important, right? Something this meaningful, this important. Maybe this is good because maybe this is the first time it's really sunken in for him. Like all those words that I wanted to say, like now he has the draft, right? He texted it, or he wrote it, or he typed it out. And although he thinks he's already sent it, maybe, in 24 hours, he'll get something that says, like, sorry, unable to send this, file too large, or sorry, did not reach destination. Maybe he'll realize he typed in her email wrong by, one letter or something. And it's like, oh my God, it didn't go. She didn't get it. I mean, that could be a huge sense of relief, but I feel like this is the universe doing him a solid. Instead of the synchronicity of like, oh, it's perfect, everything is going to work out just to perfection. This is like the anti-perfection. This is where things weren't supposed to go this way, and so they didn't. Boy, he is getting saved by the skin of his teeth. Universe, do you want to weigh in on that? Because we've got the divine saying no. This is like the divine. I'm picturing like a basketball player coming in and just blocking the shot. Like, no, you're not sending that. Inspiration of Cups. I'm sorry. This is start at the beginning. Don't send a big old message of, hey, you want to get back together? I really miss you. The universe is like, there's a starting point for everything. And you don't start in the middle. You don't start, especially if something really matters. You take care with it. You approach with maybe more reverence. You approach, and maybe you need to say, hi, would you talk to me? There's a lot of things I want to say. There's a lot of, would you give me time? Could you pencil me in? We're much more respectful if we call our dentist, hi, can I get an appointment? I was hoping you guys would help me, or our mechanic, or, could I get a reservation at that restaurant? Like, we know to ask. I think that they need to ask permission, not just blast with this, this is what I want. I want you. I'm really sad. I need you. Like, I get it. That is what their heart wants to say, perhaps. And they impulsively spilled all of that out. And we could say, well, great. They showed their real intentions. They showed their heart. But they dumped that without the permission, without the approach, without the proper respect. May I speak to you? I mean, remember, she's over here saying, I would never hear from that person, though. He's not I wasn't the person they wanted to come toward. He never made effort to come toward me. I think he looked at me with a page's amount of interest, which is, I was just a little toy to play with for a bit. Like, I honestly, I don't have to worry about him reaching out. I don't even have to think about it because I know he won't. She's under that impression. So clearly we have a big disconnect, right? So and I'm not saying he has to come in bowing and, oh, I'm so sorry. But again, it's just, if two people have completely different energy right now, it would make sense that maybe we need to establish some kind of like opening line, right? Every play, every book, every piece of music, you got to start the song. You don't go right to the chorus when you start a piece of music, or right to the middle of the book when you begin writing. You usually, lead up to something. So I think this needed to be handled differently, at least according to the universe. And that may be why this message didn't get through. Thank goodness. So now let me just ask, what are you going to do now that you are going to realize that it didn't get through? The sun. Okay. Whew. A lot of clarity. I feel like they won't find this out till tomorrow. I feel like if they're trying to send a message tonight, they think it went through, and they are, it's going to be a real uncomfortable night. A lot of sweaty palms, a lot of stress, a lot of, no wonder they're at the bar instead of trying to stay in bed tonight and try to like have a sleepless night of stressing over this. No wonder, because it's like they're not going to be able to sleep. They're so freaking stressed that message was sent. I think by morning, that's when it's going to be like, oh, message failed to send, bounce back to the inbox, something like that. And it's going to be, on one hand, a huge flood of relief, but there's also going to be the clarity that, I did mean what I wrote too. Now I've seen it in print. I wrote it. That's actually how I feel. And we go back to the devil again. Look, even if they have a flood of relief that, thank God, that message didn't get sent, we've had the devil 3 times now. So we definitely see like the sense of, but I'm still obsessed with this. And now I know more than ever. It's almost like they're right back to saying, well, now I kind of wish that the message had sent, because I meant all of it. Like I'm very lonely without them. I really want her. I really want a do-over with her. I'm kind of freaking miserable without her. That's all true still. So I do want to still say all that. Okay. That's great. They know what they want, but the approach, because you were freaking out a minute ago thinking that you had sent that, finding out tomorrow morning that it never sent, is a relief, but then you go right back into, but I want to send that. Okay, so we have the High Priestess. I do think that he will recognize this was a gift to me, that it didn't come out that way, because intuitively, it maybe did sound demanding. Look, the devil's not a good card. It doesn't have to be a horrible card. It all depends on what's around it, right? It's passionate. There's also clarity, the clarity that this is what I really, 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 really want. But then also we're tempering it with some of the instinct or intuition that maybe that did sound too grabby, too demanding even. Maybe this wasn't the best way to handle it. But intuitively, I also will say this is the truth. It's like they're looking at the raw truth of how their heart really feels, which is great, because now you can take that truth and you can start to figure out what you want to do with it. We got the embodiment of Pentacles. Okay, this is good. They're starting to get grounded. Maybe they're going to sit down in a chair outside in the light of day, sobered up, and give their, redraft something. Really start thinking about, if I want to talk to somebody and I want to offer something so that they would come to the table and talk to me, what would I do? This is, a King of Pentacles is generous. They have a lot to offer, and they are rooted and grounded, and they take actions that have intentions of long-term consequences, not this random, we had that Knight of Swords twice for them. Just impulsive. I just went ahead, tapped it out and sent it. And although, I think impulsivity, and speaking from the heart is great, but this situation probably requires a lot more finesse because of the circumstances being what they are. So I do think this is a lot better to, like, in the light of day, nice and sober, sit down in the sun and write what your heart feels instead of, in the crazy wee hours of the night, sending what it is the equivalent of like a drunk dial or something, and sloshing your way through what you feel instead of like respectfully, soberly saying, these are the things that need to be illuminated. These are the things that I need to convey. This is what I'm asking for, is could we plant a new seed? Can I offer you something to make you want to talk to me again? I think that's a way better approach here. So it's actually pretty nice to see, again, like the universe totally just did him a solid by not letting that go through. Yeah, we have the Nine of Swords in the reverse. It's a lot less stressful when he starts thinking about it in logical terms and, actually thinks about how to convey the full package. I would like someone to want to talk to me, then I have to show them a reason why it might be nice for them to talk to me, because I have something I want to give them. So I feel like that puts him in a more power position also. Now he's not having a sleepless night. I think it's a lot better. So as you compose things in the light of day, are you sending this again? Are you going to give it some time? What are you going to do here? Ace of Wands, and he's literally got, like, I always think of this as a pencil or like an oil pastel. Hi, everyone. So great to see you guys. We got the Three of Pentacles. They're definitely like drafting, possibly, because we literally have plans being drafted here. They may have a friend or two read what they wrote and ask like a trusted friend or two, what do you think of this? I need to talk to her. This is what I was thinking of saying. Could you read this through and just tell me, given our history, would you be offended if I sent you a message like this? What would you think of this? Like, look, I think they're starting to put in some serious time. And if they're asking for people to, like copy edit their essay, that again says this is pretty serious. Like they want to get it right. I think that's a lot better. I definitely see them spending at least a couple days and having one or two proofreaders, that they want more than one person to approve their plans. Then they take that leap. Then it's time for the fool's leap. Okay, I'm going to do this. Now I will. And I want to make sure that the letter gets there this time. Maybe I'm going to hand deliver it. Maybe, we got their boots. Those boots are made for walking. Let me see. Are you hand delivering it? Or are you just, Action and Pentacles? They may actually be traveling. That would be a pretty like significant thing. That's like, back in the era of like kings and squires, it's like, I am here by royal decree to deliver the letter. It's sealed with wax for your eyes only. Like they might actually be choosing to literally travel toward her, and it could be a significant distance. I say that because the Action of Pentacles, that could be a long, slow drive. We have the Three of Swords. It could actually be that they realize, as badly as things ended, this is a better way to handle it. Go the distance, show up in person. So maybe they're writing things out, but then they're rehearsing it and they're letting friends, maybe they're not telling friends, like, I'm actually going to go say this to her face to face. Maybe they're saying, I wrote this letter, I want to send it, but I don't know if I should. But then I think in reality, I think they go. This feels like, look, I'm not saying they want to show up and then turn on the waterworks and cry, but I do think if they're trying to convey this level of like grief, sorrow, loss, I could see them wanting to show up and actually say it face to face, so that it's like, I don't want you to think that I'm sitting around tapping out emails while I'm sloshed and casually with zero effort and zero like, soberness, disrespecting you and sending a flood of emails. they want to actually show like a certain amount of like reverence or something, or show the importance. Look, it's never that it wasn't that important to them. It's just, everybody makes that mistake sometimes. They send the thing that's impulsive, but it's how they really feel. But thankfully, sometimes when we first like do the verbal vomit of how we really feel about something, and it's rough and it's not refined and it's not polished yet, but we finally got the truth out of our own lips. I feel like that's what that initial email or text was. Then again, thank God it didn't make it into her inbox or her phone. But then they themselves got a chance to read it back to themselves and say, it's exactly how I feel, but let me package this differently and let me spend the quality time to refine this. That, speaking something true and something real is so important. And then if you can take the real and the true and you can present it more palatably and more like with more honor, I feel like they think that they have a real shot of like conveying how they actually feel to her. And that in turn might give them more of a shot at seeing if this could be salvaged. I mean, ultimately, we know they want the judgment card. They want her back, plain and simple. Again, she's not expecting this. We saw that loud and clear. There's the deck I want. We see her absolutely not believing that they are at any point in time going to be reaching out to her. Two of Swords. She cut that cord a long time ago. So, feminine, if they're actually delivering a letter to you, and that is what it now looks like at some point in time in the not too distant future, what's that going to look like to you? We have a 3 of Wands. We have the 5 of Swords in the reverse. She wouldn't be angry about it, but we also see her saying, I would probably need some time to digest. The 3 of Wands is like, also maybe a little bit of like, I'd believe it when I see it. Look, I'm not going to shout and holler and be angry. That's just not my thing. I wouldn't yell at them or anything. But you know what, when pigs fly, that might kind of be her attitude. Look, she's saying, I'm whole. My heart is whole. I'm a loving, solid, giving person. So, I can afford to be kind. I can afford to be polite. I'm a queen. I'm a very gracious queen. So I don't, struggle with treating people like they're human. We've got the 2 of Wands here. She still says, but here's the thing. This person of all people coming my way, I still have a real hard time thinking that would ever happen. Maybe they think about it once in a while. Who knows? But I have a real hard time believing that they'd make that move. Shauna, you angel. Thank you so much, Shauna. Shauna just gifted 5 memberships. So if your name just turned green, that was courtesy of Shauna. Erica, Empress Energy 23, Mabi, Quayland, Astrid Noid, and Desiree. All of you are now members courtesy of Shauna. Thank you so much, sweetheart. You are so incredibly generous. Just so you guys know, that does mean that you have access to all the membership videos. We do that every single Monday. You also have every Monday I pick a couple members and I do card pulls for them. And you guys can suggest a topic that you want on Monday. And if your topic is picked, I also pull cards for you then. So just FYI, okay? There's a playlist for members, by the way, guys. So we have a 10 of Wands and we have the Magician. Look, I feel like we're dealing with a very balanced divine feminine. We saw her with the Star a couple times. We saw her as a Queen of Cups. We see her as somebody who's like, look, any time in life that you can make life less painful, better, lighter, and brighter, terrific. Anytime you can focus more on the future than on the past and bury the hatchet and move forward lighter and brighter with less burdens in this life, awesome. I don't know what that means. I don't know. I doubt this person's coming toward me, but on the other hand, you never know what anybody else is going to do. But for me, if they come toward me, I wouldn't be mad. I'd treat them like a human. I'd be courteous. And you know what? At minimum, Sure, if they want to clear the air with me or something, that's fine. If they need to do that, that's fine. And then they can move on. See, she still, to me, she still thinks if they come back in to say sorry or something like that to me, it's probably just to clear their conscience so then they can move on. Nowhere here does she yet believe that they have love for her. Nowhere here is that something that she's thinking about. We have a 9 of Wands. She keeps just acting like, everybody wants to clear their karma and move forward in life. Like, I get it. I get it. I think she's going to be very, very, very surprised. In fact, universe, do you want to give her any message here? Like, she gets to decide how she's going to behave, right? When the moment comes and the day comes. But universe, do you have a message for her? The moon. The universe says it's actually a good way to say, I have no idea what anybody else is going to do. And that's always true. We don't need to try to pry into the, inner workings of someone else's mind and their actions and what they might do or what they might say. Because, hey, why spend our life pondering what someone else's actions may or may not be? That would be a waste of our own precious resources. So I love that. I love the universe is like, it's okay to just say, yeah, I don't know. Not too worried about it. 9 of Pentacles and Page of Swords. The universe says, but psst, just know that you probably turn more heads than you think you do, Queen of Cups. And you probably look a lot sexier than you think you are, Queen of Cups. And you probably have more than one person, likely, who pays attention to you. And that's fine that you don't know this, but maybe it's time to just give you, a little feather in your cap and let you know there's somebody out there. Everybody has somebody who thinks of them. That's every single person on this planet right now has somebody that thinks of them and they don't even know it. Probably more than one somebody. Just like we think of someone and we don't tell them. We've all had somebody in our life that made a big impression on us. It doesn't mean that it's somebody that we're like, oh my God, I love them. But let's just say somebody that we respect highly, somebody that we find very attractive, that we've never given them a clue that we think that they're sexy or attractive or talented or impactful in our lives, whether it was for a beautiful, beneficial way. I'm talking, like, I'm sure plenty of us have enemies that we haven't mentioned either, but we're talking more about the positives. Everybody on earth has somebody that they think is beautiful, handsome, witty, fun, makes their heart flutter a little bit. And this could be somebody that we barely know. This could be a famous person, but still, every one of us walks around and we have somebody on our mind that we think is the cat's meow. And we never told them. But it's really hard to put ourselves in that same position and be like, wait a minute, you mean there's somebody on earth who thinks that of me too? Yeah, probably a whole bunch of people. And you'll never know because we aren't mind readers and we aren't that good about telling each other, especially like positive things, because we get really embarrassed about stuff like that, right? I think that would be such a great skill. Like if in school or something, they could teach kids like the art of speaking, a compliment that is truthful without shame and embarrassment. Isn't it sad that some of the best thoughts we'll ever have, we're too scared or too embarrassed to say out loud when it would only be respectful and kind, but we won't get those words across our lips. I think that's such a tragic thing, that the majority of the nice things we think won't pass by our lips and won't be delivered to a person that maybe their life would have been better had we told them. So I don't know. I just feel like that's the message for the universe. Sorry, I was just throwing in my 2 cents on that. But it seems like the universe says it's okay to just ignore this, but please do know that you are more impressive than you think, and that somebody who walks this earth not just thinks about you, but spies on you, stares at you because they think that you are amazing. They think that you're grounded. They think that you're powerful. They think that you're a 9 of Cups. They see you as beautiful and well put together. And just know that, okay? You don't have to knock yourself out trying to figure out who, but just know that. I like the fact that the universe is not pushing her to like ponder them, think about them, try to connect with them energetically. I love that this is more just down to earth. Just know you've got a lot going for you and know that people want you. That's going to serve her well and maybe assist her in wrapping her head, because I think she's going to be baffled when this person comes forward to her, which we can see in this story, they absolutely will. She's going to be baffled. She's going to think they're just here to say, I'm sorry, I felt really bad about, like she said that they were kind of a king of wands in the reverse. Like they didn't love anybody as much as they loved themselves. They were the sexiest thing on earth, and they really weren't that interested in her, except with like a page's amount of like vague interest. So she might have even thought, oh, I wasn't attractive enough for them. And she has really got that grilled into her brain. So if they come forward, we keep seeing her saying, oh, no, I don't believe that they will. But I mean, if they want to say sorry or something, get it off their conscience, I mean, that's fine. Like look, it didn't crush my life. It didn't ruin me that they weren't attracted to me. The only thing is that's not even true. She's got it all wrong. They've been like melting over her all this time. So there's again huge disconnect, but I could see why the universe is like, oh man, she's gonna be baffled by what they're coming in for. She's gonna be confused by the big proclamation that they need to say. She's going to not have a clue what they're after, and it could be hard for her to even like hear the words that they're going to say, because none of this is going to be what she's thought the situation was. She thinks they don't care. Universe, do you have any message for him? King of Pentacles for this time sideways. No, you're going to have a devil of a time convincing her that you are sincere. She's seen you as somebody that she really believes wasn't interested in her. So I'm thinking that I'm not saying that they intentionally, like disrespected her, but there has to be a reason that she thinks that they just don't care. There has to be a reason for that. Let me just look. King of Wands, upright. Okay, so this is in direct opposition. She saw them as a King of Wands in the reverse, and somebody who had only a page's amount of interest in her. I'm wondering if this is one of those epic mistake stories where, okay, I'm an exceptionally awkward person. So I'll use me as an example. I don't like surprises. I never react well. I get overwhelmed when I'm like not expecting, things to happen, especially like if somebody surprises me with like a gift of sorts. I can react really weird because I'm confused. Why are they giving this to me? Is it intended for me? Am I supposed to hand it and give it to somebody else? Like, I don't recognize sometimes if it's for me or not. And so I have done that before. And like I'm blushing even remembering that, because it's like so embarrassing, because that's the whole point, like a surprise, and somebody's like excited and they're like, it's like, a jack in the box and you don't know what's inside and you don't know what to do with it and you don't know what the game is. Like that kind of stuff just throws me for a loop. And so I don't know if it's for me or if I'm supposed to give it to somebody else. I would rather things be very, very direct. Okay. Because otherwise I can be exceptionally awkward. And it's not that I'm not, grateful or amazed or something, but I don't always like find the right words at first. It takes me a minute to catch my breath. So I'm only saying all of that because remember, she thought that he wasn't interested and he was a King of Wands in the reverse. This says he was over the top interested in her, but his awkwardness may have made it appear he's not interested at all. So she's totally reading his like maybe overwhelmedness as disinterest, or his own like personal discomfort with trying to express a huge amount of like, emotional overload. So she assumes, oh, he's not interested at all. So something here has been a very, very, very big disconnect. And I'm just saying, when I say this could have been a big mistake or a big confusion, I'm just pointing out that awkwardness shows up in a lot of different ways. And until you get to know somebody and you understand how they react when they are awkward, because awkwardness, some people laugh instead of cry. When they're overwhelmed with emotion, instead of, crying over something, they'll have like a totally weird opposite reaction. And it's hard to explain. Like, it's the shock, everybody behaves different, right? So I'm just wondering if it's one of those situations where there was just a lot of energy and it all came out wrong. I don't know what else went wrong in this connection. We didn't really see that. But all along, we know that this is a highly amped up story because we got the devil 3 times. So we know there's a lot of, excessive energy that maybe hasn't been harnessed really well. It hasn't been articulated well. We see that was the core of all of this. He impulsively sends out this message, thank God it didn't arrive. And then instead, now he's able to start articulating it when he rereads it and, realizes he has a second chance to maybe send it right or practice it, rehearse it. That's why I kind of think he might be an awkward person. And I mean, hey, awkward, that's my people right there, right? Like I'm one of those awkward folks. So I'm feeling for this character right now. That maybe is like the best way to explain him is that, he even needed somebody to like proofread what he wants to say. Maybe he needs time to rehearse, not because it's fake, but because that way he can, get his emotions and his thoughts and his words all together. That's kind of how this comes across. So the universe is just like giving him the heads up that she hasn't seen this side of you. So first, she may be befuddled and puzzled and not even think that you're being serious. You might need to expect that she's going to think you're messing with her if you start to act like this King of Wands, because she's thought you were the exact reverse. There's a lot of dialogue that these two need to have, and it's going to require a lot of like openness and a lot of room for understanding that we all behave differently. We all have a different capacity to express ourselves. It's going to be a little tough. But I think we have the Magician. If they really want to convey this, then that's going to be the net result. This is what I want. I'm going to find a way to say this. I'm going to find a way to make her understand that I really do mean this. That is, if that's your greatest desire and you've spent some quality time thinking about how to do this, it seems like you're going to figure out how to like maybe express this in a way that she'll understand, even though I think it could take some effort and some time. Okay. definitely kind of an interesting one, just because talk about, the difficulty with that throat chakra, talk about the difficulties with expressing our ideas and our emotions. That's like such a relatable, message, because think of how many things can go so wrong in life with people that we care about, people that know us well, even like people we're raised with, siblings and stuff like that. We can still have huge misunderstandings even with people that we've spent our whole life with. So of course it's even harder when we can have miscommunications with somebody that we feel a lot of emotions for, where there's a romantic vibe to this and there's already been confusion, and now we're trying to untangle the confusion. That's a lot. But this isn't so overwhelming after all. Not if we walk in like a little more prepared, a little bit more, knowing how we feel, why we feel that way, and what's the core message that we want to get across. And then what is it that we really want to show? We want to show that we care about somebody. So how do we do that? Like this just kind of made it more bite-sized pieces. So it's more doable for these characters. All right, you guys, I'm going to leave this one here. Thank you so much for being here, you guys. RS, Mary Jones, Johnny the Car Nut. How are